Hello, my name is Prokobo, and today I'd like to talk a good bit about the Call of Duty Black Ops 4 beta. The beta just ended. As of recording this, it was about an hour and 30 minutes ago. However, I only recorded my gameplay about 30 minutes ago upon realizing, oh hey, I don't think I actually ever recorded any gameplay for this. I should really get on that. Anyways, it's an interesting Call of Duty, and it's one I'd like to talk about a lot because it's got some weird things going on with it. It's something you may have picked up on if you follow Call of Duty in any capacity, and maybe even if you don't, it's something you might have already seen a bit. Nobody's really sure who this Call of Duty's for, and it's a weird thing. Personally, I didn't find it to be all that enjoyable. I thought it was more for players who loved Black Ops 3, that being what I thought was the weakest Call of Duty of this entire generation so far. However, my friend who still plays Black Ops 3 and played it with me was like, yeah, I don't really get this either. It seems more like a Call of Duty that's made for people who don't like Call of Duty instead of for people who do, but people who don't like Call of Duty tend to not like Call of Duty. It's weird. Upon first seeing it, I thought, wow, this looks a lot like Black Ops 3. This gameplay looks the same. The memes for it at the time were just that, and I think a lot of that stems from the actual release of the game, which in the actual creation of it, which I'm actually going to go into a little bit here. See, if you didn't know, there's been a big rumor circulating that came from some leaks from Treyarch themselves. Rumors that, for all intents and purposes, have proven themselves to actually be true pretty much across the board. The basic setup is that the original trailer, the original reveal, was talking about all the Black Ops series and saying, forget what you know. Their plan for the campaign was to go even further into the future, make it a time travel style game, make it where you go into the past and actually play through the events of the Black Ops timeline, including, I would imagine, even some scenes from possibly World at War, and play through those events to make sure they're properly set in motion and happen in the right order. This would mean that the multiplayer would probably take place around this point in time as well, or take place across different stretches of the Black Ops timeline, allowing you to have a lot more varied weapons and gunplay and styles to it. The rumor was that the multiplayer as well was designed around this same way. If you remember, when they were originally asked about it, will it be boots on the ground or advanced movement, they said it was a mixture of the two, and no one could understand what they meant. From the leaks, which came from multiple sources to multiple different sources, it was pretty much confirmed, all but confirmed, it basically was going to be more Overwatch styled. Instead of picking from a class and creating a class, you'd pick a specialist. The specialist would have their set assault rifle and their set abilities, and no one else could use it, and if you wanted to customize, you'd more customize out the specialists and kit them out than you would make your own creative classes and then pick a specialist like we have now. It was a lot more heavily Overwatch themed, and the score streaks were like once you got to 3 kills on a kill streak, you earned your advanced movement. So it would be boots on the ground until you got 3 kills, at which point it changes into advanced movement. This was like the future stuff was shown in the original trailer. Them talking about it after the announcement was shown in how they talked about it. Everything that came from these leaks was basically all but confirmed and shown in force. Well, what happened afterwards was they said that Call of Duty changed. None of the playtesters liked the new stuff, which is unsurprising. Nobody wanted to go even further into the future. Everyone saw how badly Infinite Warfare was treated. Nobody wanted to go into the future, and they were going even further into the future than probably Infinite Warfare had, so nobody liked it, and the playtesters hated the new single player, so it was scrapped. The playtesters also hated the multiplayer. They felt like it was nothing like Call of Duty and felt completely off and completely wrong, which it even still feels slightly off to me. So what they did was they took Black Ops 3, made it boots on the ground, and implemented some of their other changes. This would mean all the assets and everything else would have to be changed and scrapped and created from scratch. For the most part, this actually makes sense. They needed to make a trailer, so they made a couple different sections, and there is actually nothing in the trailer that doesn't support the already known information for their reveal. The Zombies team had no issue doing the zombie stuff because they weren't affected by any of these changes. The zombies didn't change at all. Zombies is still, and always has been, just that, zombies. Zombies didn't have to change for this. The campaign was scrapped, so they didn't have to show the campaign. The multiplayer just needed to show off some cool seeming areas, and it mostly showed off specialist abilities and stuff if you go back and look at it. It didn't look all that much different from Black Ops 3, and they could have used a lot of slightly changed footage from that even just to make it work. Like, there were ways to make it happen. You only need about 4 or 5 specialists showing off, shooting different guns, moving in different locations. We never saw a specialist use a different weapon, and we saw them all using their own special abilities. Oh, we never saw two different specialists use the same weapon. So everything leans towards that whole rumor being correct. Well, what does that mean? That means that this multiplayer for Black Ops 4 was made in about 5 months. And that's something I actually believe. That means that a lot of the changes they made aren't very big changes, and a lot of them aren't. Let's go over all of the major ones now, and I'm going to base this off not the baseline of Black Ops 3, which most people are taking this from. I'm actually going to compare this to the tactical mode of Infinite Warfare, which, surprisingly enough, is closer to what Black Ops 4 is than Black Ops 3. If you take the tactical mode from Infinite Warfare, they took out the double jumping. They kept the wall running, but they made it less so. They rebalanced the whole game for a quicker time to kill, and they changed up some other things as well. Basically, they made it a much faster, more enjoyable game that was a little bit harder. And with healing being much slower, meaning you had to manually heal. And yeah, let's compare it to Black Ops 4. Manual healing was already in Infinite Warfare. The grenade cooking was already in Infinite Warfare. And
Wasted.
the weapon ballistics haven't really changed. They claimed they were changing big for Black Ops 4, but they didn't. They have a new magazine style thing where instead of having certain amounts of rounds, you have magazines, but they don't actually function any different from the old round counter, so I don't even know why they're there. Like, if you unload a magazine until there's 6 rounds left, then you unload another magazine and you unload 6 rounds out of another magazine and reload. Instead of having one magazine that's nearly empty and one magazine with 6 rounds spent, you just have a full magazine again. It's kind of dumb. It's the same thing, it's just looks a lot different, and I guess it gives you a much quicker mental thought process. Oh, I have this many left, I have this many, but an actual bullet counter, I think, is just a better way of really showing that, because there's no way to see that you have 6 rounds left. You just see that out of the counter that goes up to like 5, you have 5 out of that. And how many is that really? You could switch over to it from a 50-round magazine, and 5 is going to be like half of the magazine or a quarter of it. So, oh, that's actually like 15 rounds? 20? Who knows? It's impossible to really tell. It's not the best system. The Fog of War doesn't even really work all that well. It just shows people on the map on occasion, whether you're looking at them or not. So sometimes you go running past an area and it just blips someone nearby for everyone, and that's not good or bad. I mean, people not showing up on the minimap when they shoot is fine, but it's no different if when you're close enough to someone, they just show up on the map no matter what, whether they're suppressed or not. It's actually, I'd say, worse. The sniping is apparently extremely bad on PC, where it's really easy to do it. It even seems to have some form of bullet magnetism where you barely seem to need to aim. The UI seems really simplistic, and there don't seem to be that many weapons. In fact, I even noticed something in the UI where when I went to look at Nomad, the Tempest in his little video showing off all of his abilities and his weapons was actually the Black Ops 3 Tempest, and it wasn't even the Tempest from Black Ops 4. So when I went to use the character and try him out, he pulled out a completely different weapon. This Call of Duty is supposed to be more balanced around having different, like, competitive, and being more competitive. That's really shown in the main mode Control, where you fight over a center objective, but you only have the one life to do it, and you can't eliminate the other team. I will say it's not honestly that bad, it's just different. You come into this Call of Duty and it's been made so quickly, and it's honestly really unoptimized. My friend playing on PS4 original, not a pro model, actually had a lot of bad lag, and a lot of people complained that their frames drop really hard even on the original Xbox. This lends itself to a game that had assets made fairly recently and is actually horribly unoptimized. It lends itself even more to the rumor, which just helps to, for me, push it even closer to home. I really feel like they tried to do something different here, whether people wanted it or not. They felt like they needed to change up, because after the last couple games, people were demanding it.
Threat removed.
I will say, Infinity Ward's never known what they were supposed to do ever since they lost to Weston Zambella. Treyarch's always tried to push forward and be new and innovative, and Sledgehammer's just tried to give people what they want. And I think Treyarch this time may have gone too far. It makes no sense to me, personally, that they were able to put so much content into Black Ops 3 when they thought they had 2 years and found out they had 3, and they put so little into Black Ops 4. I think the main thing that could keep this game alive in today's day and age is going to be how good its competitive is, since the game was basically built around it. They focused it up a lot more into that, which is honestly a part of Call of Duty I never played. The game is far more team play oriented. It's far more something that is keeping competitive going. There's two things big in the world right now, and it's competitive and battle royale, and this game's trying to focus on both of those. The thing is, with competitive, you can't make the whole Call of Duty competitive. And I have a very, very simple reason for why you can't do that, and it's simply that 98% of people who play Call of Duty are going to be solo players who aren't wanting to play nice with other people. I know that every time I play Call of Duty, I pretty much play it alone. Almost every time. I know I have my stepbrother who plays it alone almost every time, except for now all he plays is Fortnite. I actually don't know anyone at all who teams up and actually plays Call of Duty with people most of the time when they play. Almost everyone I know is just a solo player. My friend who reached maximum, or like rank 500 Master Prestige of Black Ops 3 was even that. He just played it alone and he never played with anyone. And I think it's a weird thing to think that Call of Duty is actually focusing on being more competitive and being more team play oriented for a game that's not team play oriented. I think the biggest thing that's going to push this game forward is the Zombies fans, because they're getting exactly what they want, and the Battle Royale. The game is competitive, it has Battle Royale, and it has the Zombies. That's what the fans for those modes want, but a casual Call of Duty player, the guy that gets home after work after working his day job and just wants to sit down and play a couple matches, I don't know if this game's for those guys. And you can see a lot of that online, where nobody's sure who it's for, and a lot of people are disappointed. And that's sad, coming from Treyarch, since they're the biggest developers for Call of Duty, hands down. Hope you guys enjoyed, and let me know what you think of the beta, if you're excited for it, if you are going to get the full game. I played around with it a lot, but I didn't play almost the entirety of the second week, because personally, I'm not feeling it. I think it's decent, I think it's good, I think there's a lot of good changes in there, but it's just not the Call of Duty I want to see moving forward. I honestly enjoyed Infinite Warfare, Black Ops 3, and almost every other Call of Duty more than I've enjoyed this one. But this is just a beta, and it could change significantly. We'll pretty much just have to wait and see what the future brings and how good the Battle Royale mode is, because I think that will really help push this game forward. Hope you enjoyed. If you enjoyed this video, it was one of my more serious ones. I plan on making them every once in a while, but I also plan on making a couple Let's Play series in between. If you want to stick around for those, feel free to hit the subscribe button. I'd enjoy seeing you there.